Hello, everyone, and welcome to True Blue Woman, where today we will be covering part 2 of Embracing Transition, as you have seen on the flyer on there before we started. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, my name is Marjorie James, and I am the founder of True Blue Woman, a community of noble, excellent, bold, and virtuous women who live a life of purpose and empower each other and the community at large. We just don't focus normally just on women just by itself. Like, for example, this month is June mental awareness for men. We'll be having gentlemen coming on the show as well and just talking to us and just covering a few things here and there, right? I'm also the founder of Kingdom Leadership Academy, where we train leaders to lead with authenticity. And anybody really in the advice sharing industry, either you're a leader already or you're aspiring to be a leader, you're an advisor, you're a coach, Kingdom Leadership Academy is the place for you to come for that. So today we are talking about part 2 of Embracing Transitions. So if you didn't get to watch part 1 a couple of weeks back, we were talking about challenges which are faced during transitions. How do people navigate through transitions? How do you navigate your household? So there was quite a lot which was covered. It was a very, very exciting session. So please go back and listen to it if you didn't. Now, embracing transition involves accepting change, the winds of change that come in and just blow your way. So we're talking about embracing it because change happens, sometimes planned or unplanned. So you've got to embrace it. You've got to welcome it and approach it with a positive mindset. Approach it with a positive mindset and look at it as a gift. It is a gift that you have to take, and it's a gift that you have to embrace. Now, joining me today are two amazing ladies once again who have gone through different transitions in different ways, and they have come out on top. They have come out stellar as shining stars. And it's a great, great honor to have them on. I'm going to bring them on one by one and they will introduce themselves. So we have Sue from Dubai, founder of Bloom to Glow. We have Sue joining me, and we have Jessica Bankston as well from Johnston, Rhode Island, down there in the US with me. She is the founder of Virtual Oasis. Ladies, thank you very much once again. It is good to have you all. A very warm welcome to you all. So I'm going to roll the dice over to you, Sue, so the people watching you for the first time, please introduce yourself. Let them know about your lovely self.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. And it's amazing to be here again on this channel and just come together and have a conversation. And for those people who do not know me, my name's Sue Nganga Mora, and I'm the founder of Bloom to Glow, which is a concept of my coaching. I am a purpose coach, a mental health advocate, a wife, a homeschool mom, and a speaker. And I coach mostly high achieving women to redefine success on their own terms, protect their mental well being so that they can live from a place of wholeness and fulfillment. So that is my mission and that is my vision. And I'm happy to share with you all this afternoon, this night from here. From this side is night, from that side is afternoon, right?
Yeah, yes, it is. Thank you very much, Sue. Thank you. We're glad to have you here. Sue has a wealth of knowledge in the area she just talked about, and you just want to sit down and take a pen and paper because both ladies are going to share with you nuggets of wisdom, which I myself, by the way, I really enjoy them. And when I say it's an honor to sit with them and they share what they have, how they have gone through some certain things, it just boggles my mind. And Jessie, over to you, Jessie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here, Pastor Marjorie. I am also honored to be able to continue the conversation. I enjoyed it so much last week and am excited to just look at the other side of transitions, the positive side, because it really is a gift. So, my name is Jessica Bankston. For those who are yet to meet me, I also go by Jessie, and I am the CEO and founder of Virtual Oasis Solutions, where we help make businesses healthy. And how do we do that? We do that by allowing entrepreneurs and businesses to be able to focus on what they love. The way that we do that is through administrative support as well as digital marketing. I am also a creative. I am a singer, songwriter, as well as someone who enjoys writing. And I enjoy using entrepreneurship as well as my creative skills to uplift and empower.
Great. Thank you very much, Jessie. Glad to have you here on with me again. Thank you very much. Now, on to our subject, our very amazing subject today. So I like what you did put up on your status today. And you said, not all transition comes from pain or lack. Because automatically, when people think about change, about, coming off whatever they know as normal, what they used to, people automatically usually think of pain and lack, but you still say some are birthed from overflow, abundance, and deep fulfillment. Explain that a little bit more for us, because I really, really liked it. And I was like, this is nice.
Oh, thank you for that. Yes. So, yeah, like you said, mostly when everybody is talking about change, it will be probably something that was negative that happened or
Right.
something that was challenging. But when I consider transition as well in my life, I saw there are moments, yes, it happened because a change needed to happen. It's like I was forced into a situation to transition. But also there are moments, there's a place in my life from homeschool mom to a coach. It was birthed from a place of fulfillment.
Mm.
It was birthed from a place of overflow. Like I really was enjoying this season of my life. It's been
Right.
10 years, 12 years of stay-at-home mom and 8 years of homeschooling. So this season, I'm really enjoying it, and my kids are growing, and I'm loving it. And I sat and I just felt this nudge inside of me that there has to be more. It
Right.
wasn't from a place of discontentment, like, no, I gotta get out of here. It's not working, or what else can I do with my spare time? No, it was, I have felt so packed up with God's grace, and equipped that I started stepping out. I didn't at that moment, it's like 4 years ago, I only had one little baby. The two of them had already grown. And I started volunteering in church.
Nice.
So there's a department called the Compassionate Ministry. And it's
Right.
like counseling and caregiving. I signed up and I said, yes, I want to volunteer there. I want to sit and listen to people. I want to encourage people. I just want to I want to be a listening ear. And even I volunteered in the kids ministry. I mean, as a homeschool mom, it felt such joy to be able to impact other children.
Right.
So even into stepping into being a coach, it sort of happened organically. Like I was coaching without the name, because I would sit with people and someone would ask me, what can I do from here? I mean, they would seek something out of me and I could tell them. And I felt this nudge of not to escape my world, but to expand, if that makes sense,
Yes,
like
it does.
pour out. So that's why I called it a place of fulfillment, because it was a place of pouring out from the overflow.
Mm.
It didn't mean that I got it all together. It didn't mean that I understood the whole package, how it's going to unfold. I think
Right.
it meant just say, yes, Lord, I hear that. And I'm going to say yes to this calling.
Right. I like what
Yes.
you said. You just said that you are coaching without the name.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, which actually also takes me back to what you said, something very, very profound last time as well. Identity. You got your
Mm-hmm.
identity, right? Because sometimes people are looking for titles before they can do something. And so
Mm-hmm.
since you are doing it and then you discover, okay, then, and the same thing sort of happened to me as well. I was coaching without a name for actually for a very long time. Then I told myself, Hannah, I can actually make this better for people if I go now get better training for it, advance my training, advance my skill, advance. So now, there's that again, like you're saying, the abundance, the overflow, because I've been equipped. Now it's for me to pour out to people during that transition. And I started transitioning into a coach even before I left corporate. Without the name, I didn't have the name at all. I was just like, yeah, Marjorie, just that is who I was. So now then afterwards, then I said, okay, I need to equip myself. So I realized then that means there is more. You start yearning for more. So you start transitioning. You've recognized change. Something is happening, something different, something that is going to empower the community. So just like you say, it's good to embrace the change and say, okay, what can I do with this? And now the question I'll ask you, what was the power? You must have gotten some power back for yourself, because after navigating the winds and stuff. So what was the power of your transition?
I like that question because the power was the ability for, to have transformation for me and for the people I was serving, to sit with someone and to take them through 2, 3 months of listening to them and guiding them and praying with them. Oh, they
Right.
cannot walk away. They are not the only ones who are walking away transformed. I am walking away transformed. And
Right.
also,
Yes.
it was to me, the power also came in that I said yes to the invitation to become more of me. It
Right.
was who am I? Who am I? Like it's to expand me. And that is why when I said the identity was from the inside out, because it didn't come with a title. It came with you are becoming someone who can step out and elevate people, give them the deposits from God. What you have learned from homeschool, step out. Someone calls and say, how do I navigate this homeschool? I wasn't like, I don't know, just pick a book, pick a pen, website. No, I would sit with them and let's see, what do you prefer? Which grade is so I would take them down. It was from the overflow. It wasn't from perfection. But then you said about the training with the coaching, then I went through training. It's like a refining equipment, right? It's there. It's going to do its work, but it needs to be
Yeah.
refined. So I also went through that
Yeah.
refining because with the refining, it uncovered a lot of strength that laid within me. And also the most scary part, it also exposed some limiting beliefs that I had that were tucked in. So it transformed me, let me say, before I even step out. Like I say, if it never becomes anything extraordinary, I know extraordinary has already happened in me and in my household.
Wow.
Right. You
Yes.
said two very, I mean, becoming and transforming you yourself as part of, and actually that's important of actually also for us being founders and creatives and big leaders, the importance of listening as well. I tend to learn a lot from my mentees as well when I'm listening to them, like you say, being present with them, asking them questions, just specific targeted questions. What is it that you want? It actually helps you become, it transforms you as well. And just like you realize that now the power again, because we're talking about the power of transition, you realize again the strengths that you have on the inside that you didn't even know. So there's that self-discovery.
Yes.
That self-discovery, again, like you said, becoming, transformation, which is permanent. It cannot be taken out from you because it's come from the inside out, right? Yeah. So now over to you, Jessie. What was your greatest discovery during your transition? What greatest discoveries did you have during that time?
I would say discovering what was inside of me, similar to what has been talked about already. You really do discover what you're made of, for lack of a better way of saying it. You discover that you're stronger than you think you are. You know more than you may think you already know. And you also do realize the areas that you have the opportunity to grow in too. So instead of seeing it as, oh, I'm not good at these things, it's really an opportunity to stretch, to grow, and to continue becoming. And I
Right.
smiled when Sue, you said the more, because I was thinking about different times in my life where I desired more, and that was the starting place of an adventure in my life. And it always ended up in transformation. Whether I remember there was a time where I would wake up each day and go to bed at night each day. I was working like a standard 9 to 5. This was before I transitioned into my business. And I just remember thinking there has to be more. I believe the word, I know about abundant life. Nothing is like terribly wrong with the life I'm living, but there has to be more. And
Yeah.
and that was the spark that started me seeking out, okay, what is that more? And that led me to where I'm at now. It definitely wasn't an overnight process, but when I look back, I think about all of the little detours where I was like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. This is not the job I went to school. I went to school for. Um, this isn't where I saw myself 5 years ago. But now when I look back and I look back at those jobs that I thought were detours, I see God's hand
Mhm.
because I see now, okay, I can look back at those experiences and pull and draw from them when I'm dealing with certain situations now. So I think, again, the joy is just that constant discovery, and it can happen really as much as we choose, which is really exciting to me too. Each day we wake up, I've heard you say, do something out of your comfort zone, do something that scares you. And that may not seem positive, but it feels so good when you do something that you may think that you can't do it or you're scared to do it. And when you do it, you realize I can do it. It really
Mhm.
wasn't that bad. And the more you do that, you get more confident, you get more competent, you get experience. And that's something that you can draw from when you experience or face another situation where you may be thinking, I don't know if I can do this, or it doesn't feel comfortable. So for me, I would say it's just that joy of constant discovery and realizing that we're really multidimensional.
Absolutely.
It's each and every person. I've heard some people say that they're not creative, but I really believe every person has creativity in them. Every person has the power to create.
I totally agree. Everybody has a part to create. And also, you both have mentioned something very important. You step into a role, you step into a place, and you come to realize you're actually able to do this. And it's not because it's not daunting, and because people look at change, that's, let's say, if it's sudden transition, maybe something that was not planned, they look at it as a loss, or I've lost something, I've lost probably the titles and things like that. But now when you step into it, there's that self-discovery that Jesse, you say every single day you're discovering something new. And the
Mhm.
more you see gifts, they multiply by virtue of using them. All
Mm,
the time. Just
yes.
as Sue was saying, you find that gift, you polish it, you refine that tool. And the more you keep using it, and you never exhaust it, by the way. And for me, it's actually funny because now when I was just transitioning now into being a speaker, I was still in corporate at the time. And every time I think, okay, now I'm done with this, an idea will pop into my head in the middle of the night and I would get up. And so it never exhausts. You actually now start moving from abundance and overflow. You keep going and you keep going. You're not just stuck in the same place. So the self-discovery, and then you find that you can actually solve problems that otherwise you normally wouldn't.
Mm.
You find yourself, you can handle quite a lot, even more, because you see, you're enlarging your capacity, you're increasing your capacity of knowledge, you're increasing your capacity. You actually, most importantly, you are actually building resilience. Because at that time, and when you build that resilience, there's some certain things nobody can take away from you. That
That's
power of
right.
conviction, that you see, that resilience, that tenacity, that self-discovery, because you've discovered, and that's not even information, it is revelation, because it is only you who knows it. It's not been given, and you know it, that you know, and once you know something, knowledge, Apostle Charles always says this, knowledge is selfish. Once you know it, it never leaves you. So when you discover it by virtue of using and putting your hands to the plow and getting into action, then you come and realize, actually, there's more in me. Because as Sue had mentioned, you'll be surprised the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself when you're getting into
Right.
some, and then
Mhm.
that resilience is now what knocks all those limiting beliefs out.
Mm.
Then you come to realize, actually, I'm made for more. There's more of this. I want more of this. You start yearning it and yearning it. And
Mhm.
what I usually advise people as well, when you're transitioning into a new place, embrace that change, take that gift, unwrap it, and just be like a child. It is your new toy. And within the first year, learn as much as you can, so that when you're getting into the second year, you're enjoying and just sailing. And now you're getting training other people of what you have. Because otherwise, because as we were mentioning at the beginning, at the start, whenever people get in transition, there's that fight or flight mode. Should I jump? Should I go? Should I stay back? Should I go back? Should I, and I tell people, never, never walk backwards, because it will look unfamiliar at the beginning, but that is the best moment. You're walking into something new, something, you see, you'll be transformed, you'll be becoming, discovering yourself, and that is the beauty of it, because you see, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, because there's every day there's something new to discover, something about yourself, some capabilities, some things that that, and you'll be like, wow. So I've been having all this all along, because I usually say that we are self-contained. We just don't realize, because we don't discover. When we set out to do it, to discover ourselves, you find that you've got so much more to give, so much more to give. So now, Jesse, you said we talked about, now you're getting into the transition and you are doing X, Y, Z. So what strategies would you advise for thriving? Because when you're in that transition, you want to thrive, because now here it's like you've been given a blank page. Now write what you want. How would you thrive? What strategies would you use?
So you said the word plow,
Yeah.
and I lit up because the strategy that I would say to thrive, we're all meant to thrive. First off, none of us are meant to just get by. If you
Right.
have that desire for more, God has put that inside of you because you're meant to thrive. So we're meant to plow forward. And how we plow forward, I have four strategies. The P is for planning. Pastor Marjorie, I've heard you say many times, let me make sure I get this right. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
So that's something I think about that at least once a day when I just want to wing it. I'm like, no, I'm going to plan. So y- you need a plan. The L is for love. Everything we do should be rooted in love.
Exactly.
That is the foundation. If you gain money, if you gain acknowledgement and recognition, and there's not love, then it means nothing. So we plan, we do what we love. Our actions, our thoughts, our speech should all be rooted in love. The O is for ownership. We are each given a day. when we wake up, we each start off with the same thing. We have a day. So we can own our day knowing that, like Sue said, like Pastor Marjorie said, we have a canvas. We have a
Mm,
blank slate. You
Thank
can make your day whatever you want it to be, regardless of if there's, you know, kids running around, if you're rushing off to a hectic job, it's all about how you approach it,
mm,
how you frame it. And then the W, words. Words are so important. We
you.
can
Can say
either
that again. Yes.
wow.
It's so important. We can either build with our words or we can do the opposite.
Mm,
Right.
And so, if we want to thrive, a part of us thriving is making sure the people around us are also thriving. So
Correct.
when we're equipped, just like we've talked about, then we're not meant to keep that to ourselves. We're meant to equip others. So one way that we can do that is by using our words. It's such a simple way, but even for ourselves, we wake up each day. One way to own our day is to look in the mirror or as you're walking around, telling yourself, it's a good day. I'm energized. I am equipped. I'm strong. Just saying good things to yourself. It's amazing what that will do to the mind. And
mhm,
when your mind is affected, you'll start to see the manifestation of that through your actions. So again, I would say we thrive by plowing forward through planning, loving, owning each day, and then watching our words.
I like that, owning each day, because yeah, we plan and then sometimes things happen. It may happen to just slightly tweak around, not the way you want it to. But
Mhm.
when you own the day, you can take it back to your original plan because you
right.
have that power, you have that ability to decide, no, this is not a one. And then again, that's what you're saying, words. There's a statement I say all the time: if you don't want it, don't say it. If you don't want
Yes.
it, don't say it, because words have creative power. You see, our lives, if you look at our lives, and I look at myself, and when I analyze my life, and honestly, we are the sum of the words we have spoken about ourselves.
Mm,
It creates it because, just like as Jesse is saying, words, when spoken, when you speak them, you listen to them yourself. Even if you're speaking to somebody else,
Right.
it starts replaying in your mind. And I can tell you, at the end of the day, or at one point when you're just sitting down, there's I read somewhere that apparently we're hypnotized 39 times a day, and we don't even realize.
Uh,
Now you see, when you're hypnotized, you're there, and then those words you have spoken, they'll start replaying in your mind. And then before you realize what happened, is going to travel 6 inches down into your heart. You'll start replaying them. So if you've been saying negative words, if you've been saying things that you do not want, so I even ask to see, if you don't want this, why are you talking about it?
right.
Don't even bring it up. Don't give it that power. Because you will find, because you say that if it's something negative, you start believing it. You start believing it, and you start thinking that that is your reality when it's not. So if you can think something negative and then it happens, why don't you just focus on the positive then? It's better that
mhm,
way, right? Why don't you just
yeah.
Right.
focus on the positive? I am a very strong advocate of, if you don't want it, don't say it. Seriously, because words have creative power. You can speak and things will happen and things will change. So your canvas is yours to own the day and decide, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to go. You speak to yourself and you will see, you start energizing.
Mhm.
You start coming around, and the atmosphere, because now those words, I told someone once, people think, oh, witchcraft is, I don't know, like somebody sitting in a dusty bush with a red rag on the background with a white patch on the eye. Words, it's just words. That's why in English we call it spelling, because
Mm.
you're spelling out words, you are speaking out words. So you're spelling your life with your words.
Wow.
So you've got to own your day. Because honestly, whatever anybody says, even sometimes, and again, by the way, going back to owning your day, somebody can come to you, maybe you're at conference together or work together, and somebody can come and say, oh no, this day is gonna be horrible. No, 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 you have to cancel it out. Because remember,
Right.
you're owning your day. Because if you allow that negativity, because here you see we're focusing on embracing transition with a positive mindset. And I'm sure people have probably worked with that person. There's always going to be one person who likes to speak negativity, and they would like to come around you when you did. And you'll be like, no, no, no. You know what? It's going to be a good day. And no, it's not going to happen that way. You've got to cancel them, because if you don't and you listen to them, they end up influencing you, because there's some people whose voices can come in and overpower us, and nobody wants that. Because you see, you have to move it positively on your day, have that canvas, and keep on plowing and plowing and plowing, and not looking back, and building and rediscovering the beauty that is on the inside, right? Thank you very much, Jesse. Now back to you, Sue. So we're talking about the positivity of all the embracing transitions and stuff. What advantages did you have as well?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. And I want to start with what Jesse has said, the plowing. That is so,
I
so
really like
powerful.
that. Jesse, if you want to
I
write
love
for us
it.
in the comment
I
section,
wrote
it too.
I wrote it down. It
Oh,
is
you
so
did.
powerful.
It is so powerful, exactly.
So powerful because sometimes, like the way you said, we plan, but then we don't own it. Somebody else just comes and does something,
Yes, and just
you know,
dust it out.
or we cast a spell with our words, like you've said,
Yes.
spelling.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
don't
like,
need to be in a dust
cast a
bush.
spell. Wow. Wow. So then for me, the advantages, I would come back to say it has taught me these things. It has taught me that life is mine to own.
Right.
You
I
know,
like
that
that.
I sit in the driver's seat. Situations are going to be there. They're like 90%. They say it's 10% outside, 90% inside. Things will
Right.
change. Things will change on the outward, but how you respond is
Yeah.
what matters. So transition really taught me how to respond and not to react. Because then I
Yeah.
was like, are you owning it? Or is it someone, or is it just the winds and the waves of life taking you through? But because it was from a place of fulfillment, I kind of felt like I'm in charge. I'm in
Yes,
charge. And in
absolutely.
the yeah, and in being in charge, you're also anchored in knowing that God is in this. You know, there's a beautiful place of knowing that I am not alone. God is in this. So from the place of overflow, it anchored me so much in knowing that my eyes are on the vision. In between here, there will be changes. Like you said, we are ducks. And I have to give myself permission to change. I have to give myself permission to say, you know what? I don't see it that way. You know, I don't, because it comes with growth. I've seen that with my children, like they would sometimes tell me, I thought you said we have to get good grades. And then I'm like, okay, today is not about the good grades. Today is about you sticking in the focus, So it's like there's always something, I wouldn't say, no, I didn't say that. I will say, yes, it's also about the good grades, but more, it's also about your focus in school, So that I tell them, go with a winning mindset, but go with an acceptant heart, acceptance in your heart. When they go to play football, I
Mhm.
say, oh, by all means, go with a winning mindset but have acceptance in your heart that there could be a detour, there could be a lose, which means it's a learning ground.
Mhm.
And also that comes growth. So I would say that was one of like most of the advantages for growing, for the transition. And also, I came through a book in my moment of transition. And the book really, I felt like it was deposited on me by God. I love this lady. She's called Crystal Evans Hust. And she's written a book called She Is Still There. And this
Mhm.
book, the tagline is Rescuing the Girl in You.
Wow.
So in my situation, I was stuck into motherhood. And I could hear, like, people would tell me, you're so into this motherhood thing. Like, it's everything. And for some point, I felt buried in it because not only are you stay at home, you're homeschooling, But as I felt buried in it, I said, you know what? Let me work on it. Let me enjoy this season. They will be grown and they'll be out. So that's how I started saying, live lives in season and bloom in that season, because that was my season.
Yes.
When I read this book, it was so beautiful. It really gave me permission to evolve, permission to tap into my purpose as a girl, to tap into my dreams, that I didn't have to
Right.
choose. Will I be responsible with homeschooling or will I chase my dreams? No, it was a point of when I grow as Sue, I can handle both of them. Both of them will thrive. And I also want my children to see how it looks to thrive while I'm still in this world, while they see me every day, how it looks
Mm.
to say yes to the call of God in your life that says, step out and help someone. And you say yes to that. So that is more of the joy and the advantages of the transition from a place of overflow, sorry.
Yeah, I like what you said about the seasons. And I always tell people life is lived on levels because we are always moving from glory to glory. It doesn't matter how it looks like, and experienced in seasons.
Mhm.
We, life is lived on levels and experienced in seasons because it's going to happen. And when that change comes in, every system or anybody, when under pressure, they will either crack or transform. So now going back to what Jesse was saying, when on the plow, you've got to own it and choose that I will transform. It doesn't matter how it looks like, and that's what I say, that becoming.
Mm.
I mean, because you see, especially when people come into leadership positions and things like that, the first 6 months, usually utopia, it's beautiful, you're enjoying, you're people are whatever calling you either boss or this or that. But then, interesting enough, usually the 7th or the 8th month, then there's a little bit of shaking. What do? You own it, you transform, you choose not to crack, but to transform, because that's now when the pressure starts coming in. And you know what? Before any greatest changes, remarkable changes, there's usually chaos. There's usually chaos. And you see, chaos is just a dissolution of familiar patterns. You're familiar to this pattern, you're used to doing this in this way, you're used to going this direction. Oh, when I'm coming out of the house, I'm driving out, I'm automatically going right, and then, oh, you get up this day. But this is actually very common in Dubai, so you will know this. You could pass a certain route today, and coming back a couple of hours later, there's a barricade, there's a demarcation, you need to go the other way. And you wonder. So you see that adaptability. And you become like water that you can fit it anywhere. It's like if water is put in a glass, it's going to take the shape of a glass. It's going, yes, you can't do that, but you don't become, you still have to and maintain yourself, ground yourself into your values. That's another very important thing. I think among strategies that I personally would use during transitioning, having strong values, because chances of going back, turning back and saying, hey, you know what, I used to enjoy that, being, it's going to be there, it's going to creep in, but standing, I call them lines that don't move. You've got to have lines that don't move, that you tell yourself, you know what, no, I'm pushing forward with this. I'm owning this. Like say, Jesse's words, speak to yourself, encourage to yourself, because we speak to ourselves more than we speak to anybody, either verbally, loudly. Like I talk to myself verbally sometimes. It's always good to have a conversation with someone intelligent, to pick yourself, the intelligent person. I, I spoke to last weekend. I was having a similar sort of conversation with someone, and I told them, I said, yeah, I encourage myself. I tell myself stuff, and I said, I like to cook and I cook very good meals. And I said to him, if I had a restaurant, I'd buy my own meals.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I'm encouraging myself. You've got to encourage yourself. Even if a day would feel like probably you didn't make the best meal, it is the best meal. And I said, yeah, I'd go to the restaurant, I will still choose it because it is mine. So if you don't encourage yourself, if you don't champion yourself, because you see, you've got to enjoy your product. You've got to be your first client.
Yes.
You've got to champion yourself, and then this is going to, because you see now you're building yourself up because you want to transform the community, you want to empower the community, and it starts with you. And it starts radiating, because the more you champion yourself, by the time you're showing up, let's say, for example, if let's say as a speaker, Sue can tell you this, Jesse can tell you this, public speaking is like one of the greatest fears of people. You know, sometimes until you are put just even in front of 4 people to speak and you have never spoken on stages, when you realize that your voice can actually disappear without you having a cold. So it's just about, you know, that talking to yourself and encouraging yourself and saying, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do this, because you want to transform people. You want people to see that this is actually doable. Right? Because now you see, because if you're going to be, you have to start leading yourself before you are taking anybody else anywhere. You know, because like say, for example, like public speaking, I usually rehearse my presentations quite a lot. Yes, I plan it out, but I don't, it's very difficult to stick to the script, but you've got to plan it out. So I've spoken about it, I've talked to myself in the mirror, I've talked to myself while cleaning the bathroom, washing dishes, I don't know, doing laundry. So by the time I'm going on stage, I'm not doing it for the first time. I've done it before. I'll give you an example of one athlete, a very great athlete here in Kenya. I've forgotten his name, to be honest. However, he kept he was training for a marathon, those like 4 kilometer something marathon, those very crazy ones, intense ones, you know, for endurance. So he would train every single day. So when he got to the finishing line, there was one journalist who actually came to meet him at the finish line and asked him, because he finished with a record of, let's say, 4 minutes or whatever, 14 minutes or whatever, and 56 seconds, that this has never been done before. How did you do it? Because you're doing it for the first time. He said, no, this is like the 100th time I'm doing it. So you see, to him, it was a normal day. It was a normal day to him. And I think Kobe Bryant used to do as well. So every time he would practice and practice and practice. So anytime you'd go on the basketball pitch, it's a normal day. So you see, just like as we're saying, is to discover what is inside and find that tool, that tool, and keep on sharpening it. Because champions are not discovered in the field, they're discovered in the cave. You get built up in the cave. So by the time you're showing up, someone made me laugh the other day. They said, oh, you just came the other day and you're doing so. I said, do you know where I have been before this? How long? You know, and not realizing, and sometimes that we get 99 no's and then it's going to be 1 yes. And then when that 1 yes comes in, is now your greatest moment, because you're ready to shine. That actually transformed you. It has built you up. The beauty of it, and that is inside you, cannot be shaken, cannot be taken, nobody can take it away, because you've owned it. Right. So, Sue, how did you go from fulfillment into expansion?
Wow. Like I had said before, it came from a place of overflow, from that nudging, that there is more. And I felt so settled, so content, not complacent, so content in the season that I was. And I wanted to pour out. And I could feel it is a call from God to say, walk into another season. And it was inviting me. The season was so inviting. I must say, when I felt it and I started volunteering, and I did that for some time. And I thought, okay, I can feel I'm enjoying this. I'm loving it. I'm serving. And then after 1 year, they said, do you want to be the team leader? And I thought, why did you choose me? And one word she said that really changed how I saw it. She said, it's the way you show up. You showed up every Sunday for the meeting. Every person we gave you to do caregiving, to do counseling with, you showed up. You sat with them. You gave us reports. You showed up. So I was like, those little plants, those little seeds that you keep planting on the way, and you do it because it's passion. It's fulfilling. It gives you fulfillment to see the other person thriving.
Yeah,
And
I like
also,
that.
when I speak, I didn't just start speaking. When I go to Kenya in summer, I take my children there. I speak to the church. I speak to the youth in church. I speak to the girls.
Mhm.
So they would say, oh, she's one of us. She's come from this village.
Mm.
She's become a flight attendant. She's gone to Dubai. She's traveled the world. Let's invite her to tell us how her journey was. And I could probably
Mhm.
have said, no, I've got nothing to tell you. But I took it with honor. And I said,
Right.
yes, yes, I want to come and tell you the journey of faith. I am one of you. I have lived, I was in this church since I was 10 years old, you know.
Mhm.
This is my village. I have walked the same roads you're walking. And
Mm.
for someone to look at me and say, you did this? I was like, yes. And to see the hope in their eyes
Mm.
that, you
Right.
know what, if she did it, we can do
We
it.
can.
So,
Yes.
I, it was just walking by faith and obeying the call and saying yes and showing up. If do you want to speak, the could say they want to speak to the ladies who are married about education with children because you're homeschooling, I'd be like, yes, that's a good idea. I would just pick up from a parent who is homeschooling,
Mhm.
not because I knew anything about homeschooling. Like I wasn't homeschooled myself. So it was a
Mhm.
call that I said yes to. And from the overflow, from the much that God gave me, you see, it's like the talent.
Mm.
I don't know whether God gave me
Yes.
two or gave me five or gave me three, but I didn't go wondering, is this going to be enough? I
Mm.
Mhm.
said, it is enough to someone else. It is
Mhm.
enough to the one that is ready to receive. Like even in coaching, sometimes I sit, I'm like, Lord, can I do this? Okay, is there someone who's going to listen? I mean, is it impactful? But then I'm reminded one person, just one, for the
That's what.
one who will
Yes.
see and say, thank you. Thank you for shedding some light in that. I sit and
Yeah.
someone say, how do you handle the chaos of the children the whole day? And I'll be like, it's not easy. It's not easy. But if you love, like what Jesse said, if you're rooted in love, if you love what you're doing, like I'm not doing out of inconvenience. I'm
Mm.
doing it
Mhm.
out of love. And I tell them, you can start from out of inconvenience. Yes, your journey can start from there, but you can grow to love what you're doing. You can grow
Yeah.
to love and to just say, Lord, renew this love, renew the energy. Yes.
Wow. I like that. Oh my God. So powerful. Ooh, I would see to you ladies here at home. Back to Jesse. So somebody is listening to you today, and how, and let's say for on a perspective of the business, what would be the greatest advantage in starting up a business during transition? What would be like a greatest advantage? What should they capitalize on, really?
Well, it's a great time to specifically start a business. There's so many resources available for that. But I would say, in order to capitalize on transition with specifically businesses, you should capitalize on relationships. I think it's always good to take inventory of your community and in a way of assessing who is there to serve the purpose that you're focused on and who is, I'm choosing my words wisely because let me preface this actually. So when I say capitalize on relationships, I'm not saying to use people or um, to do it in a selfish way. I think sometimes when people hear capitalize, they may think that, but we're not meant to do life alone. And so I would
Mhm.
say it's always important to have community, and that is so true within business as well. Having a virtual business, sometimes you have to be more intentional, I think, with that because you can just have a computer or technology and be good to go. But even in the online world, there are online groups, there are Facebook groups, there's so many resources. Google I love Google. And one thing I love about Google is that if you don't know how to capitalize on having a business, starting a business, there are simple searches that you can do that will get you started and that will spark inspiration. And then having mentors is extremely
Very
important.
important.
I'm going to use the word critical. It's so critical because
Right.
we're each on a journey, and there's people who are walking the same place that we're currently walking in. There's people who are maybe a little bit behind us, and there's people who are ahead of us too. And so each of these people have a place in our journey and in our community. We're meant to help people, but we're also meant to get help. No one is above getting help, and that's how we're able to make that discovery, that
Right.
constant self-discovery. So I would say, in order to capitalize on transitioning in business, reach out to the people that you know. Even if you think that you don't know someone that can help you, they may know someone. You,
Absolutely.
so it's really a domino effect. And going back to what Sue had mentioned about the overflow, we have a community and we're each on this journey, and when we come together, when we unite, when we link arms, we're able to, it's almost like an overflow. Visually, that's kind of how I see it. We're each flowing in the path that God has designed us to be on, or our lane. And when we come together, it's almost like there's overlap. And even being here with you, Sue, Pastor Marjorie, I'm getting poured into as I'm sharing. And so being able to do that, starting out with business, sharing where you're at, and then finding out where others are at, that can help you in your journey. So I would say again, just reaching out to people that you know. The other thing I would say that has been important to me, and the only reason that I was able to step out and start a business in a period of transition, was faith, my faith in God. He's been my anchor. So regardless of what I go through, regardless of what season I'm in, I know that I
Yes.
have that anchor and that foundation. And it may sound cliche, but he is a firm foundation. And when you have that foundation of love, you can build anything. And I don't like to say the sky is the limit, because there are no limits. That actually is a limiting mindset, I realize. So there are no limits when you have the right foundation. So,
Right. Right.
so that's what I would say.
Nice. Yeah, I like that because mentors, I always say mentors and coaches will help you to sidestep landmines that you'd otherwise, if you don't get this advice or guidance from them, it's going to slow you down. But they will help you to sidestep those landmines, and you don't get your foot blown up, and it shortens your transition period into now you starting to be in that place of overflow and abundance. Thank you very much, ladies. This has been a very, very great conversation. So now over to you, Sue. For the viewers who are watching you, how can they get in touch with you if they'd like to bloom and glow?
Yes, thank you for that. So for viewers who are watching me, you can search me on my website, Sue Nganga Mwaura, Instagram, the same name, and LinkedIn as well, the same name. And I'll be happy to connect. And remember, honor your season. Honor your
Absolutely.
season, stay
Mhm.
in gratitude, and overflow will have, yeah, like you'll have nowhere to, no, nothing to do but to overflow.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And what, and Jessie, how do they get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me would be by going to my website, www.virtualosolutions.com. And my social media platforms are on there as well. And I would be more than happy to hear from you and to connect with you. And just grateful to be able to always meet someone new.
Great, great. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been a great show, and this brings us to the end. And the details for the ladies are all there on the description. Please feel free to get in touch with them. We need to move forward. We are empowering each other. We are not going to be like segregated and have that fear of, sisterhood. No, sisterhood. We stand together. There's this cliche people always say, "Oh, women are their worst enemies." No, I don't think so. I do not think so. We scratch that, and we are going to own our growth. We are going to own our leadership. We're going to own our communities, and we're going to stand and come out stronger and better on the other side. So thank you very much, everyone. And again, as well, if anybody has a story you'd like to share with us on the show, please get in touch with me. Send me a message. We can talk about it, and we can see how we can get you on the show, or if you want to suggest someone to us as well. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And we will see you again in the next couple of weeks with another great show of True Blue Woman.